Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. This is going to be a Blues Vinyl Tag 2023, done by my friend Chris over at the Blues Vinyl Guy, a Blues Guy Vinyl. Blues Guy Vinyl, there you go. Chris, our friend up in Canada, put this list together. I'm a big blues fan, so we've got 20 questions. I'm going to try to do the best I can. I still have my 2 broken wrists, but now I'm in a removable cast. So I'm able to do a lot more. I can drink a cup of tea. I can bathe myself. I can dress myself. I can feed myself. It's amazing the difference in a couple of weeks will make. So let's get on it. First question is, what do you say here? In 100 years ago, Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith released their first blues recording, show a record by a woman blues artist. So I'm going to show one that a lot of people might don't know or haven't seen people showing her on the VC, and that's a Rory Block. This is her album High Heel Blues, signed by Rory, which is pretty cool. She's more of a folk blues artist. She's been around for many, many years. Interesting story about Rory is that her father, Alan Block, was part of the 60s folk revival and was a banjo player, put out a couple albums, did a little more of the bluegrass, old-timey music thing. But he used to own a store in Greenwich Village, which I didn't realize I had been to a number of times. It was the Sandal Shop. And you would go in, and he would tear off a piece of butcher paper. You'd take off your socks and shoes and stand on the paper. He would outline your foot, write your name on it, etc. You'd give him like, I don't know, $2, $3, $4. And a week later, you'd come back and give him another $2 or $3, $4, whatever it was, and you'd have a pair of handmade sandals. Every time you went to his store, there were always musicians hanging out. Everybody would be there playing guitars and banjos and fiddles, and it was like a real gathering place for people in the village, was the Sandal Shop. And Rory was there all the time. She was a little younger than I am. I didn't look up her age, but I was born in 49. I think she was probably born in the early mid-50s, so a couple of years on me, a couple of years on her. But I remember going into that shop many times and got a pair of sandals there. And I remember always there was musicians there hanging out playing, and that's Rory Block. Good stuff. All right, next question. It's the year of the rabbit, so show a blues album with a rabbit on it. I found horses and chickens and everything else but rabbits. Finally, it's sort of not blues, but it's sort of blues related, and it's the animals. The beginning with Eric Burdon, and right there there's the rabbit. There's the rabbit. So definitely blues related. Next one, show an artist born in January. And I'm going with Mississippi Fred McDowell, who was born January 12th. Fantastic album, fantastic singer-songwriter. Again, like I always say, I'm lucky enough and old enough to have seen him live. I saw him at the 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. Just amazing. This album has Someday Baby, Milk Cow Blues, Over the Hill, Going Down to the River, Louise. Just amazing. Great, great stuff. Recorded in 1965 in Como, Mississippi. There you go. Mississippi Fred McDowell. An artist that passed away in 2022. And I'm going with one of my favorites, Kim Simmons from Savoy Brown. Sad to lose him, but love Savoy Brown. Very bluesy kind of stuff. Just great. Sorry to lose Kim this year. Next one. Jeff Beck, who recently passed away, obviously was famous for his guitar prowess, showed an electric blues album bought in 2022. In 2022, my wife and I traveled to France. We were in Paris, and actually I didn't get this in Paris, in France. A lot of jazz and blues musicians in the 50s and 60s moved to Paris and France. Expats decided they were treated better there, were more respected there. And this is one of those guys. He recorded a number of albums over in Europe that were never released in the United States. There are a lot of his records. I could have bought a lot more, but I just picked up this one, and it's the great Luther Allison, and this is Love Me Papa. I guess he had an album before this, which I have upstairs, called Love Me Mama. Fantastic, great guitar player. Again, he was at the 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. I got to see him then also. And this album has Love Me Papa, Blues with a Feeling, Key to the Highway, and he even does a Magic Sam song, I Feel So Good. He plays guitar, vocals, and harmonica, recorded in 1977. The great Luther Allison. And then show a acoustic album that you bought. Getting all hard with these casts on. Show an acoustic blues album you bought last year. And I couldn't resist, I had to grab this. One of my favorites. Mississippi John Hurt. This is a repress, it's a midline series from Vanguard. The best of Mississippi John Hurt has on here I Shall Not Be Moved, Baby What's Wrong With You, It Ain't Nobody's Business, Salty Dog Blues, Coffee Blues, Avalon My Hometown. Recorded, this is a live album recorded in Oberlin College, April 15th, 1965. So, not really a best of, even though they call it the best of. It's basically a live album. Pretty great stuff. Love Mississippi John Hurt. Very, not that shouting blues thing, but a very mellow, beautiful voice. Very folk-oriented. The great Mississippi John Hurt. Conversely, Kutha, show a record store day 2022. I didn't do Record Store Day 2022. Circumstances just happened to be, I just didn't do it. So I didn't buy anything in 2022. Static Blues. Show a used blues album purchased in 2022 that's still in the shrink. Well, I bought this last year. John Hammond, Can't Beat the Kid. And you see it's still for $2.99. There you go. Special sale price. John Hammond, Can't Beat the Kid. Great blues album. Love this stuff. Can't Beat the Kid. What else have we? It's a Diddley Daddy, Southbound Blues, Statesboro Blues, Terraplane Blues, Chattanooga Choo Choo, Rag Mama, Drop Down Mama. Great album by John Hammond. Can't Beat the Kid. Okay. Show your most exciting blues find of last year. Maybe a Grail. It wasn't a Grail because I didn't know it really existed. But when I saw it, I had to have it, and I'm so glad I did. And it's one of my favorites, Magic Sam. And this is his early recordings on Cobra, Chief, and Crash from 1957 to 1966, before he signed on to Delmark Records. Really raw, but he is so bluesy with his voice, so soulful with his voice. Just fantastic. All Your Love, My Love Is Your Love, Out of Bad Luck, All My Whole Life, Easy Baby, Magic Rocker, Mr. Charlie, Blues Like Boogie. Just fantastic. Magic Sam unfortunately died in 1969, very young. Just about to explode onto the scene when he passed away. But anytime I see any Magic Sam albums, I always grab them. Big fan. Never got to see him, unfortunately. Show your most disappointing blues buy in 2022. And this is not a bad album. Let me preface it with that. Definitely not a bad album. But I was disappointed because it's too produced. It's too, I don't know, they have strings in it. They have some horns in it. It's just a highly produced album. And I like my blues a little rawer. And it's Keb Mo. Good to Be Me. Good to Be Keb Mo. 2-record set. And it's on red vinyl. Who gives a damn? There you go. And there are some great songs on it. It's not a bad album. I was just disappointed. I like my blues a little more raw and not quite so well produced and well orchestrated, etc. So a little bit too overproduced for my taste, but definitely not a bad album. Show you 1, 2, 3, 4. Show three 45-inch, 7-inch single blues albums. I don't collect 45s. I have none. I don't collect them. It's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. I do have some 10-inch, so I'm going to show some 10-inch for blues albums I have. This was a Record Store Day release from 2015, and it's on New West Records, and it's Robert Johnson doing Terraplane Blues. And on the flip side, you have Steve Earle doing Terraplane Blues. So that's sort of a cool little record to have, and I like that a lot. Next one, I have another 10-inch, more of folk blues area, and that's Josh White. And this is his 10-inch Ballads and Blues, Volume 2, edited by Alan Lomax on Decca. Black Decca label. I don't have a date, but I think it's in the mid-50s this is from. Here's the back. And the last one is more blues jazz, but the greatest singer of all time for me is Billie Holiday. And I picked this up at Goodwill a while ago. This is Billie Holiday sings, and she does The Man I Love, All of Me, You Go to My Head, Traveling Alone. This is not in great shape, but I had to have it. Billie Holiday, a great blues jazz artist, my favorite singer. Next one says show a album blues artist from somewhere other than the U.S. or England, and I'm going with Canada, and I'm showing Powder Blues. The Powder Blues is live. I really didn't know much about them, but I was at Goodwill last year. They had 2 or 3 of their records. I grabbed them all. This was recorded and mixed November '79 in Vancouver. Yeah, Powder Blues. Good straight up blues band. Definitely a bar band. Good stuff. Powder Blues. Went to show a blue. I'm sorry, I got lost. Show blue northern. Excuse me. Number 13. Feeling Lucky. Show a blues album that has to do with luck, good or bad. I'm sorry, I got a little confused there. 13. How about Bad Luck Being on a Chain Gang? Can't get much worse luck than that. And it's Champion Jack Dupree, a great piano player, and has great songs on this album. Sleeping in the Street, I'm a Gambling Man, Door to Door Blues, Lonesome Bedroom Blues, I Hate to Be Alone. Champion Jack Dupree on the Chain Gang. Can't get much worse luck than that. Number 14, show a blues album or an artist that's new to you. Again, never heard of this guy. I bought a collection. It was at someone's house. He had a bunch of records he was selling. I was going through them. I had never heard of this guy, but it looked interesting. It was really inexpensive, so I grabbed it. His name is Duster Bennett, and this is 12 dBs. Again, I'd never heard of him, and as soon as I played it, I said, oh my God, he sounds like John Mayall. It turns out he toured with John Mayall for a number of years. He's English, and this is really quite good, better than I expected it to be. It's his 3rd album on Blue Horizon Records. So yeah, I never heard of Duster Bennett before, and happy I grabbed this up. Number 15, Show a Blues collaboration album. So basically, not Brian and McGee and Sonny Terry. Some people play together all the time. Just people that came together for an album. And I'm going with Ben Harper and Charlie Musselwhite. Great album. No Mercy in This Land. I got to admit, it's basically a Ben Harper album. Charlie Musselwhite plays harmonica and does great stuff on it. But Ben sings 90% of the songs. Charlie sings one song. But still, just really enjoyed this record a hell of a lot. Just great. Ben Harper and the great Charlie Musselwhite. Number 16, show a blues-related book, magazine, or something that's not a record. A local record store here in Maine was closing, and they were giving away a whole bunch of posters. So I saw this one and had to grab it. Got to stand back, it's a little big. There you go. Buddy Guy from his album Blues. The Blues is Alive and Well. So I got this great big poster already put on the fiberboard. So I had this up in my room for a long time. That's my blues related non-record find. Okay. Number 17, Winter. Show a blues album with snow, ice, cold, etc. This is the one that Chris showed for a different reason. I'm showing it for the ice. And it's Chicago, the Blues Today, Volume 1. And you can see all the snow and the ice on the railroad tracks there. This is a great compilation with Junior Wells, J.B. Hutto, and Otis Spann. It's great. I know they re-released this recently, but I'm glad to have the original. Okay, Round and Around, the blues album you played the most in 2022. I picked this up, and I couldn't take it off. Elmore James. This is History of Elmore James, 2 LP set. And he does everything from Dust My Broom, of course, Shake Your Moneymaker, Picking the Blues, Talk to My Baby, 12-Year-Old Boy, My Baby's Gone, Find My Kind of Woman, Up Jump Elmore, Look Over Yonder Walls. Fantastic. Just keep spinning this record. I can't get enough of Elmore. And let's see, next one. A blues album you would recommend. All right, here's a record from the 1960s. White Boy Blues, but some of the original White Boy Blues. They put out 2 records of this series, and it's Blues, Rags, and Hollers. This is lots more Blues, Rags, and Hollers. They recorded both records on the same day, or the same week, whatever it was. One was called Blues, Rags, and Hollers. There's lots more. I like this one better. It's with Spider John Kerner, Tony Little Son Glover, and Dave Snaker Ray. This album influenced so many people, especially Bonnie Raitt and that whole group of people there. He does Black Dog, Wampum, Black Betty, 59 Seconds is just like amazing. Crazy Fool, Keep Your Hands Off Her, Duncan and Brady, Red Cross Star, Freeze to Me Mama, What's the Matter with the Mill, etc. So half the songs is Spider John Kerner taking lead. The other half of the song is Snaker Davey Ray taking lead, and Tony Little Son Glover playing harp throughout the whole thing. Really turned me on to a lot of blues stuff. Fantastic. Just love this record. One of my absolute favorites. Play it all the time. And finally, a shout out to a channel in the vinyl community. I got to go to my buddy Brian from Shamrock and Records. He came by last week and helped me do the Vinyl Tag 2023 when I couldn't even do what I'm doing today with my arms. So a big shout out and thank you goes to Brian from Shamrock and Records. That's the 2023 Blues Vinyl Tag. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd like to see your Blues Vinyl Tag. Give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love you to subscribe. And until next time, peace.